But first, we turn to the devastation in Kerrville, Texas, where rescue efforts are ongoing as crews hope to reunite families after deadly floods. Joining us is House Budget Chair and Texas Congressman Jodey Arrington. Welcome, Mr. Chairman. There was and is a devastating tragedy unfolding in Texas. All of us are thinking about those impacted. I mean, the thought of children just attending a Christian camp and others losing their lives is heartbreaking. And candidly, Chairman, it's a test of faith. I'll let you respond. You represent that great state. It is heartbreaking to those of us who are just watching it.
No doubt. Trey, good to be with you. My heart's heavy, as many of my fellow Texans feel the grief and the heartache for these families who are still waiting to see if they can find their children from these camps. And of course, the death toll now is 70 and rising. We have a little ranch, my family, just a few miles up the road from Camp Mystic. And that area is prone to flooding, but we have never seen this wall of water that rose 30 plus feet in less than an hour. And so it is an epic and unthinkable tragedy. And I think there'll be a lot of postmortem analysis. But right now, especially on this Sunday, as many of my fellow Texans and fellow Americans have gone to church to worship and pray, we are lifting them up to the God of compassion and Father of all comfort in their day of trouble, and just praying that God's supernatural peace and comfort will be with them, because there are no words right now for what's happening in the hill country in the heart of Texas.
And if I know Texans, they will not stop looking until they have reunited everyone they can possibly reunite with their loved ones. Texas is unique in that regard. Our hearts and prayers go out to you, Chairman. I love that state. I spent 4 years in it. I have a lot of friends in that area. Our hearts are broken. As for the bill, what should GOP members in swing districts, in your judgment, highlight about the bill the president just signed?
Well, it is big and beautiful in this regard. It's the largest tax and spending cuts. It's the largest welfare reform. You talked about, restoring the dignity of work, not trapping people in a cycle of dependence and poverty. It's the most significant commitment to opening up our nation's energy assets. So it's a return to energy dominance and bringing down the cost of energy for working people. It's a long list of really good things. The beautiful part about it is the help that's on the way for our working families. And on the tax side, it's supercharging what we experienced after the 2017 tax cuts, right? We had the most investment, capital investment, R&D investment, repatriation of dollars that gave us unprecedented growth. But we also had the lowest poverty rates in recorded history, the lowest unemployment among females, Hispanic, and Black Americans. And so supercharging that through giving business provisions permanence and certainty, but also giving working people additional enhanced tax breaks. That's the tax on tips, the no tax on tips, the no tax on overtime, the tax breaks for seniors who are on a fixed income, families who have children with the enhanced child tax credit. So I think most Americans, Trey, have a pretty clear contrast between Republican policies and their quality of lives versus what they experienced over the last 4 years of not just lawlessness and chaos, but the cost of living crisis, the likes of we haven't seen in 40 years. We had virtually no interest rate cost. We had virtually no inflation. People had more money in their pockets. We had thousands of dollars in increase in median income, the largest wage increase in 25 years. What I'm telling you is we're going to see this and more, and the proof's in the pudding. And I think as Americans experience that, they're going to be better off, as will our country, and so will our prospects in the midterms.
All right, Chairman, before I let you go, Elon Musk has started a third party. Only in America can a South African start a party called America. but he may have enough wives and girlfriends and children to actually form a congressional district. Well, what is his complaint other than losing electric car giveaways? Why is he so critical of this bill?
Well, I think there may be some personal feelings wrapped up in his analysis, but I will give him credit that we have to change the trajectory we're on from the perspective of the unsustainable deficits and debt. As the budget chairman, Trey, I can tell you, we cannot sustain the $2 trillion annual deficits that will double in 10 and the record World War levels of debt that will just continue to grow at exponential rates. The 30 years is $150 trillion on top of the current $36 trillion. So we have to intervene in a meaningful way. Quite frankly, much of the big work to be done will have to be done in a bipartisan basis. But we cut $1.5 trillion, which is twice the amount of reduction in spending in the history of the country. You couple that with growth, you couple that with the holding discretionary flat and rescission packages and some tariff revenue, regardless of your thoughts. CBO says it'll be over $2 trillion in revenue from tariffs. Altogether, you're going to see the debt to GDP come down and the restoration of our fiscal health. But it's not one reconciliation bill and we're out. It's going to have to be a rinse and repeat for years to come.
Chairman, thank you for joining us on a Sunday night. And do me a favor, please let everyone impacted in Texas know that the entire country is thinking of them, especially the families impacted. And we appreciate you taking time to join us on a Sunday night.
Will do, Chairman. Thank you. God bless.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.